Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. We're fortunate enough to have with us again from Action for Assange, Taylor Hudak, who is in London and has been covering the Julian Assange extradition trial, which today was the second day. Taylor, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
So I know you don't have access to the courtroom, but you are there outside of the court. And what have what did you notice today, and what information were you able to get for us today?
Yes. So I provided updates from what I learned from my colleagues who are inside the courtroom, namely Taylor Hudak. But outside the courtroom, there were protesters who were there. Of course, the crowd wasn't as big as it was yesterday, but there were still a big group of protesters and demonstrators outside the courthouse chanting things like "Free Julian Assange," "No U.S. extradition." I did an interview right after court wrapped up outside the courthouse with Taylor Hudak, which you could find on the Watchdog on YouTube, and we also tweeted it out from the Watchdog, which you can follow at WD Newswire on Twitter. And what we learned today was that the defense brought up the long-standing myth that WikiLeaks publications revealed unredacted names and potentially put people in harm, and the defense was raising the issue that in fact it was Luke Harding and David Lee with The Guardian who published a password and actually made that password the chapter of a book, and that password led to cables. Led to cables, and was actually something that could have caused harm. That was brought up in court, and then also Chelsea Manning's role in all of this was further expanded upon. And again, I was not present in the courtroom, so I would direct everybody to check out Tarek's work, which you could find on thewatchdog.net for specifics about what happened in court today.
Okay, and then again, what was sort of you said weren't as many protesters, but was the attitude pretty much still that it was from yesterday in terms of people very much fired up and excited about trying to support this case? Are there anybody in favor of like, or anti-Assange people there at this?
Extradition?
Yeah.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. It was all very pro Assange. There is a lot of support, and the support continues to grow. And everybody is really expressing to me, because I did some interviews with Yellow Vest protesters, and I was speaking with people who were there today and there yesterday, and people are seriously concerned that if Assange is extradited to the United States, that we will, and that trial does go through and he is convicted, people are extremely concerned that they will no longer have access to information about their corrupt governments. This is a common theme among people all over the world who came there today and yesterday, because there was people from all over, but specifically from France. We did see the Yellow Vests protesting and showing a lot of strong support.
Yeah, it's become pretty obvious that it's not, I mean, the whole narrative that the State Department in the United States has tried to put out there is that, oh, he hacked this email, he coerced Chelsea Manning into giving this information and all this stuff, which is just not true. And now apparently, and I haven't read it myself, but I just heard there's a Politico article about, I guess, Cassandra Fairbanks has done some whistleblowing with regard to some people in the Trump campaign, with regard to the deal with Ecuador and all that. So I'm going to probably do a separate video on that, but that literally just came out, which backs up more of what we're just talking about, which it is it isn't what the U.S. State Department is saying.
And just to backtrack a little bit, yeah, just to backtrack a little bit, as I said earlier, I would encourage everybody to follow Tarek for information about specifically what happened in the courtroom. But what I can tell you after speaking with him and interviewing him today, right after court wrapped up, is the fact that the United States government and the prosecution very much misconstrued this interaction that took place between Assange and Manning. In fact, Assange was helping Manning use this computer to play video games and access the computer for entertainment purposes, not to access this particular information that was leaked.
Yeah, I mean, that's their whole thing, is they're trying to make it seem like it's this coordinated spy effort by Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, which is, of course, it's not true. They're just mad that they revealed the war crimes of the United States military. But also today, you said you were at another event where people were like Peter Lavelle and Gordon Dimmick were speaking. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it was Imperialism on Trial. This particular event was focused on the extradition hearing, and among the guests were George Galloway, Peter Lavelle, many others. There was many well-known people in the audience as well. But here in London, they've been holding these events for quite a while now. And basically, we also heard from Eva Bartlett as well. And basically,
okay, George Galloway. I'm sorry, I said it wrong first, but I said Gordon Dimmick, but George Galloway is what I meant. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I said it, correct that.
Yeah, so he was there, of course, and I was able to speak with him afterwards. And during his speech, this is George Galloway in particular, he really called out the media for failing to act as journalists and for just being mouthpieces of the establishment and the corporate media. And I encourage everybody to check out this footage for themselves. It is posted on YouTube. I believe it was being streamed by RT UK, so you could find it there. But these events are very interesting and very informative. And Peter Lavelle was there. I know you've been on his show, Crosstalk. And he was talking about just the state of the media and also the significance of this case and why it is so important that there is no U.S. extradition.
Mm-hmm. What are you feeling with some of these new revelations? There was the one last week about what Dana Rohrabacher said that, and now I know it just came out and we're both just learning about this Politico article. Do you get any sort of sense from people that are inside the courtroom and following this that maybe the tide is turning a little bit in favor of Julian?
From so I'll be providing some of my analysis on this, but based off of speaking with Tarek and looking at some of the tweets and articles that are posted about what is taking place in court these past 2 days, I will say I do believe that the defense has a much stronger argument than the prosecution. Again, that is my opinion, and I'm not even just saying that because I'm against this U.S. extradition. I really do believe that the facts are 100% in favor of the defense. The number one factor here being that with the U.S.-UK treaty, a person cannot be extradited from the UK to the United States for political purposes. And this case is inherently political. I mean, there's no denying that. It's very political. So I think that is something that is very much in favor of the defense. And then we also learned yesterday in court that U.S. intelligence was considering working with this Spanish security firm, being UC Global, to put an end to the situation that was taking place in the embassy. And that's the best way I could put it. I'm being careful with my words here, of course, but there was some discussion about ending that situation, and that was revealed yesterday.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of this information has come out. Some of it we've known for a while, but like the IMF giving Ecuador, what was it, $4.2 billion in some sort of loan, and that's when all of us, as soon as they got that, then they were like wanting to kick Julian out of the embassy because that's how the United States empire leans on people. And according to Cassandra Fairbanks' Twitter feed, she's not going to be talking about this, but she apparently will be on trial for the defense in May. And I feel like it's kind of moving, at least it makes me a little like cautiously optimistic. It was been pretty dire last spring, absolutely. And now it's feeling, I don't want to get too excited because we are dealing with the American war machine, but the fact that and as you just said, what Tarek said from being inside the courthouse, that the defense team is starting to have a little more concrete evidence for this, and that I'm.
Well, I think that to be clear, there was always good evidence. They're now having the opportunity to present that, and we haven't even heard anything yet. I mean, this is just the second day of the very first part of this extradition hearing, so it's hard for me to really make predictions on this. I mean, there is going to be a lot more that we are going to learn throughout this week, and then of course in May when it resumes on May 18th for the second half, which is expected to last for about 3 weeks.
Right.
But I think, you know, I am hopeful too, and speaking with others who were in the courtroom, it seems that the facts are very much on the side of the defense in this case.
Well,
that's finally being able to be presented in court.
That's good to hear. So what other interviews have you gotten that people can check out on your site and also on Tarek's site, Watchdog?
Yes, absolutely. So go to thewatchdog.net. That is where a team of us are working together in London to cover this, namely myself and Taylor Hudak. Remember, he was formerly of Newsweek. You interviewed him before, and I know we talked about this the other day. So we have an interview that is posted on the YouTube channel. I also spoke with George Galloway today, and that was a very good discussion that will be posted on the Watchdog as well on my personal channel. And then I also have footage of just what took place outside the courtroom. I have an interview with the Yellow Vest, an interview with a representative of Women Against Rape, which is an organization that supports Assange and is against the U.S. extradition of Assange. And I will have more and more to come. We also did have a podcast last night, and we did not have it tonight because I was at Imperialism on Trial, but we will resume that podcast tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter at WD Newswire. We will post when we're about to go live, and again, that will be at some point in the evening. Remember, we're GMT time, so back in the States, that is going to be afternoon, depending on what time zone you're located in.
Yeah.
So that's what you can expect, and we have some really awesome guests lined up, and very much looking forward to some in-depth analysis of what's taking place in the courtroom.
Excellent. Well, I'm also going to reach out to Tarek and have him on the show this week because it would be great to hear what he has to say from somebody that's right inside the courtroom. We appreciate everything you're doing. Everybody out there watching. So Taylor just gave you a bunch of different resources to give even more up-to-date information about what's happening over there. And this is probably the most significant freedom of the speech trial to happen in the modern era, not to overstate it. Because as we've talked about on this show numerous times, and all the people I've interviewed from Unity for Jay, if they allow him to get extradited, and they allow him to, and what they're doing to Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning, they could come after anybody that doesn't play ball with the corporate machine, the war machine. So very much, Taylor, appreciate your thoughts and your work and everything you're doing there. I know you guys are busy and you're you're burning the candle at both ends, but everybody here very much appreciates and respects the work that you and Tarek and everybody at Watchdog are doing over there. So thank you so much for taking time out.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. If I can make one last point.
Sure.
I encourage everybody to look more into the U.S.-UK extradition treaty. It is a very one-sided treaty in favor of the United States having the ability to extradite someone to the U.S. from the U.K. So I just want to be clear on that. It was discussed this evening. George Galloway was actually a MP at that time, I believe. That this treaty was passed and put into effect. So we're just going to be keeping a close watch on this case moving forward, and we'll have updates starting tomorrow morning. That will be at 9:30 GMT time. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'm just shocked that the American empire would have treaty that was bullying and only in their favor. That's just mine. I can't believe it. America just spreads freedom all throughout the world with its drone strikes and its sanctions and it's doing whatever the hell it wants. And just for anybody watching out there, so London, Greenwich Mean Time is 8 hours from Pacific time in the States, which makes it 5 hours from the East Coast, if that gets you any idea. And I will give this, anyone that's got like an iPhone or a smartphone, like iPhone has a world clock, put London time in there and you can, it's very easy. I have someone who travels all over the world. So that's to any viewer out there that wants to know what time it is. Use your smartphone. Taylor, thank you so much for taking time out and giving us all this information. Everybody out there, please like, share, subscribe, push these videos out there, spread the word. YouTube, we just crossed over 61,000 subscribers. That's thanks to all of you. This Saturday, the 29th, Ron Placone and I are doing the Progressive Comedy Tour in San Francisco. In March, we're going to Florida. Go to grahamelwood.com for all your tour dates. And remember, you're making Gotham great again. And Taylor, shave your knuckles for justice.